Go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so nice one, guys. Thank you so much. It was a brilliant weekend. I think content-wise, it was up there with some of the most amazing presentations that I've ever seen. And I didn't actually get to watch all of it because I was dipping in and out backstage, but the feedback has been incredible. For those of you that are looking for the recording, so there was quite a few technical issues with the event from the streaming side. It was meant to be streamed into the group and then it would have automatically been recorded into that group, but Facebook blocked it and then threw it on my profile. So I did press record on the webinar. I'm hoping it is out there somewhere in the cloud and I'll be able to bring it down onto a recording at some point, but I'm just mega busy these next few days with meetings. So bear with me. Fingers crossed I might be able to get it done before Monday next week. So that's that one. Takeaways for me was just, it's up to us, right? Momentum is created by us. And the biggest thing that I saw was we've got a system and we know that the system works. But if we're not filling that system, then we're not going to get the results. So you can have the best call in the world, the most inspiring event. But if you've no people there, then you're not going to grow your business. So we need to get good at that bottom end of the funnel, the bit which feeds the rest of the business, right? So we need to get better and more consistent at adding, messaging, connecting, following up, posting, reaching out to people, more and more conversations. So the question that I want to ask you guys is, can you increase the amount of conversations that you're having? It's as simple as that, because if you do that, the rest is in place. It's like we've got plant pots everywhere with beautiful soil in there, but no seeds. So it doesn't matter how nice the plant pot is or how good the soil is, how fertile it is. If we're not putting the seeds in there, then nothing is going to grow. Okay, so let's move on to the podcast before I bring Emma on. I know, Emma, you've got to get to the airport, so I'm going to be really quick. Or I can get you to go first if you want, Sneds.
Yeah, it's all right. Everything has got a time schedule, so we're all good. I'm always banging on to everybody else about managing yourself in your time that you have. So I'm trying to do everything has a time. So yeah, what did you guys think of the podcast from last week? I'd love to know in the chat what you thought of it. What was your favorite part? Appreciate you just put your favorite part of the event in the chat as well. That was selected by John, that one, and I found it quite interesting. It wasn't what I expected at all, because what I expected was something about the title of it, which was The Magic Art of Not Giving an F, right? But it wasn't about that at all. It was just an interview of the guy who wrote that book. So it was quite good in that respect, in that I didn't get what I thought I was going to get. I thought I was going to get some stuff about, you know, caring less about what other people think, which I don't care about anyway. And it wasn't that. So it was really good in that respect. I thought it was really good. I got some new stuff from it. So I'll pick out a couple of things that I found interesting. And that were kind of thought-provoking for me, and I'd love to listen to or read a couple of your comments out as well. So Aaron's saying they'd love just discussion about how there was no end game. Absolutely. So there's a little bit he talked about, as one of mine as well, where he talked about when we talk about it a lot in this business, don't we? Like, or in life even, like you feel like you're climbing a mountain sometimes, and then little do we know that we get to the top of the mountain, there's another friggin' mountain. It's really true, isn't it? And whatever you've done in your life, you probably know, like if you've ever achieved a goal, whatever it might be, once you've achieved that goal, if you want to get further or you want to do more, there's always more to be done. There's always more to achieve, and it's definitely something to pursue in your journaling or your conversations with your team or with yourself around. When you're talking about, well, thinking about what your goal is, also think about what the next goal is after that. What happens after that? Because there's actually a lot of people in our business that hit a goal or hit a target or get to a level that they want to, work really hard to get there. And then when they get there, it's almost like everything was building to that. And then it's like, oh, now what? Now what do I do? So, you know, I want to get to SSC. I want to get to SSC. I want to get to SSC. We get to SSC. And then it's like, oh, it's either I've made it, so we stop. And there's obviously a risk in that, or we get to, or we want to, you know, and we really got to make sure you want to know what your next mountain is. You always want to know what's the next goal. When you get the thing that you're gunning for right now, what's the thing that comes straight after that? Because that will give you, when you've got that momentum, you want to keep that going. So I love that as well about, you know, don't be scared of the second mountain, right? Sometimes we're like, oh God, there's another mountain. The mountain's there for a reason, right? The mountains are what get you where you want to be. So they're there, the challenges are all there for a reason, and it's really, really important to embrace them. I'm a big fan of embracing the mountain, embracing the challenge in front of you, the things that are going to get you to the place that you want to be, the mindset that you need to have, all of the little things that you do, all of the little things that you overcome, they're all actually confidence builders. And you'll all know what I mean. At some stage, you'll have achieved something, you'll have done something, you'll have set out to do something, and you'll have achieved it. And it gives you just, it might be a little chink of extra confidence. It might be a massive amount of confidence. Maybe you got a job that you went for. You've gone for the job interview and you're like, don't know if I got it, don't know if I got it, don't know if I got it. You get the phone call, you've got the job. It's like, oh, wow, like I did that. I sat in front of those people. I answered those questions and I got that job. Maybe it's your driving test. You know, you start your driving test, you're really nervous, you get to the end, pass your driving test. That little bit of confidence in the success that you have, like bottle all of that up until you've got like a big fizzy bottle pop of confidence, right? Of self-belief. Each little thing should give you self-belief, should be part of your self-esteem bucket. So making sure that you're always filling that bucket with the things that give you self-confidence and self-belief and self-esteem will come from all the little mountains that you overcome, all the little things that you do that create every step that you take on that mountain. Those of you who've ever seen Dave O'Brien, who's a desert marathon runner in our business, he's just had his 30-year anniversary of the company. Go over and celebrate with him on his page. It's definitely worth a comment. I think 30 years with the Juice Plus, it makes me feel like a baby. I'm like, yeah, good 10 years, barely even getting started. So he's just in his 30-year anniversary. He's a fantastic man, fantastic speaker, fantastic advocate for the product as well, and the business. But he always says, and it's what, you know, when the speakers that resonate with you, and this is part of this whole, like, there's always a mountain thing. He always said, there's always one more step. You've always got one more step in you. And that has kept me going through my business, through my training, through my work life, through my home life, through my training for Ironman and all the stuff. There's always one more step, always one more step. So if you ever feel like, oh, I can't do this, or it's too hard, or I'm not any good at it, or whatever, that extra one more step, one more step, one more step, because at the other side of one more step, one more message, one more conversation, you just don't know what's there. And actually, talking about On Fire, that what if presentation that Ruth and Jane did was all about that kind of thing. What if you sent one more message? What if you hadn't sent the message? What if you didn't do the post? What if you did do the post? So asking yourself always, what if I just take one more step up the mountain before I go back down? What if I just do one more thing before I give up? What if I just have one more day? Just have one more day and see how we get on. So absolutely love that. So that was one thing for me. I loved what he said. Average is easy. That's why it's so popular. Average is easy. I was like, oh, I was literally packing when I was listening to it again. I was like, well, I need to write that down, because there's little lines, isn't there, that you hear and you go, one more, you know, the average is easy. It is easy to be average. It's easy to be normal. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's called average for a reason. But if you're on this call on a Monday night at 9:15, you probably don't want to be average. You probably want to have a more than average life. You probably want to, and actually the very first part of that podcast it wasn't negative, but it was a little bit like, what's he like? I didn't know where he was going with it. It was a bit like, well, there's pointless trying to, you know, we're all a bit boring, we're all a bit mundane, we're all a bit average, and nobody's really extraordinary, you know, not really. And I thought, oh God, but I'm always telling people they're extraordinary and special and stuff. So it was really interesting, the banter and the conversation between them, because his point was, most people fall into the ordinary average bucket, because that's where most of us are in most areas of our lives. And most of our life, a lot of it is quite mundane, you know, doing the washing and doing the ironing and taking the kids to school and, you know, what's for tea, and those things are quite mundane, average, normal things. And we're very lucky to have them. In fact, I gratefully gratitude about most of the mundane stuff in my life, because I'm glad that I have it. But if you want to be extraordinary, if you want to do something more than average, you've got to be more than average. You've got to create, and everybody can be. So there's some loads of stuff in that. I absolutely loved that concept of average is easy, and that's why it's so popular. So that was one bit that I particularly loved. And another bit that I really enjoyed, two last bits from me. One was, you have to say no to things to figure out what you really want. Anybody else, the people pleaser? Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that call. Yes, I'll stand over there. Yes, I'll scratch my arse for you. Yes, I'll do that for you. Yes, I'll iron all your clothes for you. Yes, I'll wash your clothes for you. Yes, I'll pick that up off the floor for you. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll go to that event on the other side of the world. Of course, I've got the commitment. Yes, 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 right? People pleaser. Most people in our business, I think, are. because we're nurturers, we're carers. That's why we're good at it. That's why we love it. We want people to be healthy. We want people to be happy. We want to help people. So there's not actually anything wrong with being a people pleaser, but there is if it's at the extent if you never say no to anything. Can you babysit? Yes. Can you look after this for me? Yes. Can you hold that for me? Yes. Can you, if you, what do they say? If you want a job done, give it to a busy person. We all know the people who we have them in our own lives. I think, oh, I'll ask her because she'll do it. Right? We all have them, right? Or she'll definitely do it if we ask her, right? So I want you to challenge yourself around that concept of saying no is good for you. It's good for your business. It's good for your life. It's good for your mentality. If you say no to the right things, right? Saying no to things to help you to figure out what you really want. And it's okay, like I said this on Saturday, it's okay to put yourself first sometimes. It's okay to do, because you need to grow for everybody else to grow. So actually sometimes saying no is the right thing in that moment. Sometimes saying, and also if you want to couch it, you can say it in different terms. It could be not right now. I'm actually really stacked right now, but I promise you when I get a window, I'll get back to you. That's not a no. It's not, yeah, most people are like, cool, okay, cool, no problem. And I'm actually managing loads of conversations today amongst doing other things and just managing people's expectations. Actually really busy at the minute, but I'll get back to you tonight or tomorrow. But those things about saying no, I thought were really good. And in your life, saying no to a few things so that you can say yes to everything else. In our business, you have to have the confidence to say no to some things. I went to an event, it was actually an Eric Worre event in America, and there was a couple of people talking there, and they had started their businesses when they were like in their early 20s. And she just said, I said no to everything. Everybody was going out, drinking, partying, Taco Tuesday, Thirsty Thursday, blah, 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 when we were in our early 20s. And we were just like, no, we're not going. No, we're not going. No, we're not going. I'm building my business. No, I'm not going. And she's like, so everyone thought we were boring and blah, blah, blah. She's like, but I'm 27 now. I'm a multi-millionaire. I live in a massive mansion. She showed a picture of her house. And she said, because I said no to all that shit that didn't matter. And I said yes to myself. And she went, look at my life now, I can say yes to everything. And that really stuck with me. That was in 2014. And I remember thinking she was 27 and I was 37. And I was like, oh, wow, like that's so cool. If I'd just done that in my 20s. So by saying no, it's okay. Most people are okay with it. So I love that. Say no just to help you figure out what you really want. And then the final one for me before I hand you over to John that I really loved as well, being getting good at saying no. I know you have, Andrina, hence why I said about saying no to babysitting. And I don't know if you mind me saying that, but Andrina's practicing this by saying no to lots of people. And she said no to a few things at the weekend so that she could watch the whole of On Fire sitting in her kitchen table without having to go anywhere else or do anything else. She watched the whole thing from home in Southampton because she couldn't get there, and because she said no to a few things. So I'm really proud of you for that. And then the last one for me was, if you're thinking about quitting, and this isn't about quitting the business, it might be quitting the day, it might be not getting on the call, it might be, quitting your life, quitting your relationship, whatever. This is about mindset training and self-belief and self-esteem. If you're thinking about that, sometimes you need to think, maybe you just need a break. Maybe you just need a sabbatical. Maybe you just go for a walk. If you've sent loads of messages and you've had loads of no's, or you're feeling in a funky vibe and you're like, oh, I've had enough of this, and blah, maybe you just need to go for a walk. Maybe change your environment. Maybe change, the social media platform that you're on. Sometimes that's all I do when I want to throw my phone against a wall for whatever reason. I'm like, actually, you know what? I'm going to leave Facebook for a bit and I might go to Instagram, or I might go for a walk, or I might watch a movie. So it's not always about, do I want to quit this or not? Do I want to quit this activity or quit this business or quit this day or quit my relationship? Sometimes you just need a break from it. Have a little sabbatical, take an hour off, take a day off if you need to. This business will be here for you no matter what, when you're ready to work at it, when you're ready to pick it up, when you're ready to run with it. We'll be here. This call's going to be on a Monday night, if you whatever. The opportunity call is going to be on a Monday night, whatever, right? We're going to be here doing this, building it, growing it. And so if you ever feel in a funky place about anything, it's really important to understand your feelings. So he talked about that, and I thought it was really interesting when he talked about he was overwhelmed. Like, he'd finished his book, he was really famous, he was saying yes to everything, and then he got really overwhelmed with all the stuff he was doing. And some of you who've had success in your business will probably have found that, right? Suddenly you get to NMD and you see it, right? Jane Mabley, she's been on every call. Everybody wants to speak to her for all the right reasons, right? You want to speak at an event, or you're on this call, or you're the PJ call, and on the whole team winning call, and blah, blah, blah. Suddenly, like, everybody wants a piece of these people who have success, and it can be quite overwhelming sometimes. So all of these things are linked together in that having the confidence to think, what do I really want to do right now in this moment? And is it just a little bit of a break do I need to just step away for a couple of minutes or a couple of hours and go and do something else, and just feed your brain with something else? swimming is brilliant for that because you can't be on your phone. Swimming and cinema are a great place to have a break. If you're going, you know, it's month end, you're going for it, you're overwhelmed, pissed off, whatever, you know, go to the cinema and you can't be on your phone, not allowed. Go for a swim. Gives you a real break from your kids, from your relationship, from everything, because you're underwater, right? And then you'll be surprised when you have a little break, what happens when you come back? You feel refreshed, revitalized. Has anyone ever done that? Right, I'm ready to go. I feel refreshed and revitalized. A lot of us will have said that after a little bit of a break at Christmas. Right, 2023, ready to go. So they were my key things. Average is easy. That's why it's so popular. You have to say no to get out, to find out what you really want, and always take a sabbatical before you quit.
Amazing, Emma. I love this. I mean, the great thing about doing these calls is I listen to you sharing that, and then I get something out of what you're saying, and it sort of provokes me. So just on that last one, I remember Alex saying to me when I was absolutely knackered, I think I was going for QNMD, and he went, right, take a break now. You need to sharpen your axe.
You always say that to me too, don't you?
Yeah, you need to sharpen your axe, because eventually if you keep hitting trees, eventually your axe becomes blunt. So you need to recover. And I love that. That was one of my takeaways. I've got quite a few notes here. So I got recover to perform, sharpen your axe, as you just mentioned there. The other bit about that one was come back from a break on fire. I think you mentioned that, like when you do come back from your break, straight out of the traps. And I feel like we've done that this year. Like, that's what I'm really impressed with this year. Like, I know people let their hair down a bit over Christmas, had a good December, New Year Eve, all that kind of stuff. But we literally were fast out the traps. I think the first Monday was straight back into opportunity calls. We were all in. So that was a big thing for me. It was a takeaway from mine as well. Make sure the rest, and this is one that I always ask myself, is this rest active rest? Is it going to help me perform better? Or is it sabotage rest? And this is one that I ask myself sometimes. I'm thinking, I'm having a break off my phone, but if I go out drinking too much or too much partying, it's sabotage rest in a way, because you don't come back from it feel refreshed, ready to go. You actually come back feeling like you need another break. So make sure the rest is recover to perform. I love the other bit about the Metallica story, and I've listened to the audiobook. So the reason I wanted you guys to watch that podcast, I was hoping that it would, because the audiobook's about 8 hours long or something crazy. I was hoping that you'd watch that and think, do you know what? Some things really resonated here. I want to watch the movie. I want to listen to the audiobook, because the audiobook's incredible. But he talks in the audiobook about the Metallica story, the guy that got kicked out of Metallica. Absolutely amazing. Well, it's not my type of music, but really successful rock and roll or heavy metal band. The guy got kicked out. He had this burning desire to prove those guys wrong. He went away and created a really successful career for himself with another band, yet he was still totally unfulfilled because Metallica was still bigger and better than him. And that is a total example of run your own race, right? Life is not a competition with anybody else, right? You're not competing with anybody. And the biggest thing that I see in this business that takes people off track is they compare themselves to other people. She's got to NMD before me. She's got a bigger business than me, blah, 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 right? And I fell into that trap myself a little bit on my journey. And one thing that I remember is thinking, all I've got to do is focus on what I want in my life. What do I want this opportunity to give me? I don't, great if someone else is successful. I'm going to use that as inspiration. There's a room for everybody on the stage, but I'm not comparing my journey with theirs. This is my journey, and I'm going at the speed that I want to go at. Because if you're not fulfilled when you hit NMD or you hit the top position, then what was the point in doing it in the first place? Right. So it's much more than the title of the position. It's what that actually means to your life, and being really, really grateful for that. So he talks a little bit more about that side of it in the book. There's a few other examples. Having a goal to go to, I think it's really important. Emma touched on that with her points. Like, it's all well and good going for, club one or hitting sales coordinator, but you need to see the next mountain. in front of the one that you're going for. So you know that you've got a goal to go to, because really this whole business is just continually about growing and contributing, growing and contributing. The key fact of it is you've got to enjoy the journey. And it really, it's so easy, this business, when it's fun. When it's fun, it flows. Like, people said to me, oh, I bet you were so stressed on the weekend doing the event. And actually, I wasn't really stressed at all. The only bit that I was stressed with was the IT. The actual event itself just flowed really, really well, because people were having fun. Everyone was having a good time. There was smiles on faces. We had a bit of a laugh with the saxophones and all that kind of stuff. When it's fun, it really, really flows. And that's what I want you to find about your businesses. What are the bits that you love about this? Make it fun. You know, of course it's serious. It's seriously life-changing, but it's much easier when you're having fun doing it and you're taking that pressure. Alex always used to say that relaxed intensity, right? You're going at a good momentum, but you're not burning out. You're not revving the engine too high. You're going at this relaxed intensity where you enjoy it. The other bit, just talking about the mountains, and I wrote this down when you were speaking, Emma, really, this is what I love about it, because you throw a point up and I think, oh yeah, that relates to this as well. So getting to senior partner, you've got to do the same things to get to senior partner as you've got to do the same things to get to NMD. So you need customers and you need team members to get to senior partner. You need customers and team members to get to NMD. So it's just about being very, very process driven. The process is the same. Just keep doing it over and over and over and over again. The average thing, again, that's, you know, average is easy. That's why most people are doing it. And it reminds me of the other saying, talk is cheap. That's why so many people are broke, right? They just talk a good game over. And the guy, Jake, who presented it, he said, when they were talking about dreaming big, and he said, there's so many people in, you know, he's saying my nieces and nephews or whatever, they're posting on Instagram, just you wait, this time next year. Talk is so cheap, right? Action wins every single time. They're talking a good game on social media, but they're not doing the work behind the scenes. So, and this is a Jeff Roberti quote, do your feet follow your lips? Do your feet follow your lips, or are you just talking a good game? The saying no, it's funny because you mentioned that, and I used to say yes to everything all the time, and then I think, fuck, why have I agreed to do that? How? And then the stress comes in, like, how do I get out of it? That's the worst bit, because you've agreed to something because you don't want to let anybody down because you're a nice person, but then you're like, shit, how do I get out of this now? So you end up putting yourself under even more pressure. So I remember hearing this, I can't remember who told it me, but if you want to say no, end it with, answer the conversation with a no. So I can't right now, but if anything changes, I'll let you know, right? I'm not sure at the minute. I need to check my schedule. It's not looking likely, but if anything changes, I'll let you know. So you're not giving them like a harsh no, definitely not. You're saying, probably not going to be able to make it, but if anything changes, I'll let you know. Really busy at the minute, not sure I can do it, don't want to let you down, but if anything changes, I'll let you know. So you're ending it with a different kind of no. I'm going to let you guys know. So that really, really helped me, because, and the trouble is you've got to remember to say it, because sometimes you instantly fall back into old habits. Yeah, of course I will. Of course I will. Shit, what have I done? Right. So yeah, just try and remember that. And then the final bit for me was the quote. And if you get the audiobook, he talks about the story about his friend that died, and they were away at like a camping trip or something, and he jumped off a cliff and never came back into the water. And he had the dream about him, and he was crying in his sleep, and his friend came to him in the dream and said, why are you so sorry I'm dead when you're still so afraid to live? I mean, wow, what a line, what a lesson. And how true is that, right? We all have these moments in our lives where you hear of someone really young that gets ill, or someone that has life-changing injuries, or they pass away, or whatever, something happens, and it's a wake-up call. We don't actually do anything with that wake-up call a lot of the times. The bell rings, but it doesn't resonate. So we need to stop being afraid to live the lives that we truly want to live. And how do you do that in our industry, in our business? You go out there and you talk to people about what it is that we do, what our products do with belief. One of the things on Saturday was really wanting to reinstill that product belief. We have got the best products in the world by a country mile. And you had 2 experts speaking about it. And then you had 3 amazing stories. So your product belief from that meeting, from that event, should have gone up. Then your business stuff, you know, Kira talking about how to build, how to recruit. It's all simple stuff. But if you're too scared to do any of it, then you're never going to get anywhere. So those are my takeaways. I would definitely recommend the book. It was interesting because I'd not listened to the podcast either. I recommended it because it was about the book. And I was a little bit like you, Emma. I thought, where's he going with all this stuff? And it was one of them that you had to listen to all the way through to piece it all together.
That's why this is really good, because if I hadn't had to listen to that for this podcast, I probably would have ditched it after the first 10 minutes, because I was like, oh, this is not really my vibe. It's not really my thing. I was like, I can't really do a call if I haven't listened to the whole thing. And I'm so glad that I did. So I think that's one of the reasons why this is a good exercise, because it makes you listen to stuff that you might not normally listen to.
Yeah, brilliant. So that's it. I know you've got to leg it to the airport. I've got to go out and have a quick meeting, and then we've got the US call tonight at midnight. So thank you so much. If you've not listened to the interview, give it a listen. Maybe listen to it again. I think that's something that I definitely want to do. So cheers,
I'll
guys.
share the podcast for next week. It's a John Maxwell one. I will share that in the PJ group so that you can go and listen to that. John, thank you. I know you've got 100 other places you could probably be tonight, so just an extra thank you for jumping on here and doing this for us. I really, really appreciate it, and appreciate you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for jumping on. This recording will also be launched shortly. I will see you all very soon. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.